Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Outside the Box. I'm with Andy Rogers, physician's assistant over in the Johnson City office. Andy, how's it going, man?
Johnson City represent.
Is that the 423?
That's the 423, baby. Yeah, 37601, mother. Brother, thanks for having me back on this podcast. Who wants to be inside the box when you can be outside? Am I right?
I was thinking this morning actually about how I was going to start off this episode, and I thought about asking you, are you outside the box today?
I am so outside the box today. Like, I can't even be in a box right now. You're so outside the box, I'm in the box. I'm in another box. No, this is good. This is good. I'm glad we have this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only time that me and Ben actually get to talk. We are brothers. We are relatives. And we only get to talk when it's about work on this podcast. So tell me about life. I heard you went out the other night.
Yes. We have, where have we went to the Smokies recently.
The Smokies, like baseball game?
No, like the mountains.
Like the mountain range. Actually, it's funny. I'm drinking a little afternoon coffee in Appalachian Trail.
Are you? That's the AT.
Yeah. Oh, have I hiked it? No.
No.
But will I drink the coffee mug that says I did? Absolutely.
No. Are you drinking your coffee black out of curiosity?
Absolutely. Like I say. Yeah.
I'm actually trying to. I'm trying to drink black coffee, and it typically starts with me just forgetting to get creamer at the grocery store, and I'm like, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, crap,
Classic.
But I need, like, I have to, unfortunately, I'm pretty dependent on it in the mornings. So,
do you see Todd in the background right there? Like, totally look over my shoulder. Look at Todd.
And
there he is. Yep. If anyone's interested in what my dog looks like, that was Todd.
For those watching on YouTube, you will get a
special guest visual.
Yes. Well, man, the reason we wanted to get you on the show today was we sometimes, as well as anybody, we recommend a ton of vitamins. And I know it can be overwhelming, and a lot of the comments we see on some of our videos around vitamins are like, man, which ones, what are the absolute ones I should take? How do you add a vitamin to your regimen? So, kind of quickly, how are you looking at that? Because I know you take a lot of vitamins yourself.
I do.
How do you look at that? How do you not get overwhelmed?
I think this topic is really important and really hard to kind of divulge. I'll say, before we go, I guess a good segue into that is, anytime we make an intervention, whether it's prescription or natural, you would like to know or like to decipher, what am I looking for? Why am I doing this? I like to know the whys. I like to go upstream and say, what is the deficiency I'm trying to fix, and what am I hoping to get out of it? With vitamins and over-the-counters, a lot of the times people think more is better. That's not always necessarily true. They're usually looking for something, more energy. I want to feel better. I do not want to be on a prescription medicine. I'd like to try something natural. I even talked to a patient the other day, and he is also in medicine too. And he said, you can look at books. Herbal medicine used to be part of the traditional pathway. They took it out of a lot of schools, and some people attribute it to J.P. Morgan coming in and trying to push chemicals and synthetics. So there is medicine to be found in naturals. But what I find too is, when you get into the vitamin world, when you get into the over-counter world, I think branding is very important. Something that has been USDA verified by a third-party source to know what's in it is actually in it is important, because most of the times these aren't FDA approved. You're not getting a lot of people don't study naturals because there's not money in studying naturals. So having a third party is important. And then then the real, what are you looking for out of it? So I do think there's a list of essentials, and then I think there's a list of fun add-ons. And fun add-ons can be, I'm trying to get off a certain prescription medicine and I'd like something that's a substitute. I'd like more energy and I'd like to try that naturally. I'm hoping to curb appetite, but I don't want to be on phentermine or a GLP-1. There's a lot of fun stuff, but I do find that there's essentials, and I believe it is because we do not get the vitamins and minerals that we used to get over 100 years ago. Our environment's changed. I don't know if you recently saw, but do you know that we're about to hit 8 billion people on Earth?
No, I didn't see that.
8 billion people. Earth wasn't meant to sustain that many people. I guess that's debatable, but we are not designed to live in the world that we created. That is 100%. That's an anthropological view that we have created an environment where we're driving in cars at 90 miles an hour when we were never supposed to do that. We're living in communities of 8 billion people online when really we were supposed to live in small communities where we each had a task. That's why I think mental health is so important today, because we weren't designed to have computers and us speaking over a screen. There's a layer. This is two-dimensional. It's not what it. Hang up right now. We need to get in. Okay. So that was a long spiel, but bullet points from that are: brand is important. Make sure that the brand is USDA verified by a third party, so that's what in it is actually in it. You can test vitamins. We test vitamins all the time. Check your vitamin D. If you've been taking vitamin D, check it and see if it actually comes up on a lab. It should, if what's in it is actually in it. And then think about what your aims are for it. Is this just for preventative health, to age well, energy, weight loss, fat loss, focus, calm? There's a lot of stuff you can go on.
You mentioned a bunch of things there that I'm super interested in. One is, and this is, I'm just going to be completely honest. What does USDA stand for again?
U.S. Drug Administration. So it's a governmental body that will take certain things it's a quality control.
Okay, so guys, watch out for the USDA verified. That's on the label, I'm assuming?
It's on the label. Yeah, and actually too, we have some Dr. Rogers labels. Those are verified by a third party. That just means what you put in it is actually in there. And that is not true for all vitamins. Branding is important. That's why we carry life extension. Life extension is, I think if you choose one, you choose life extension.
Totally agree there. Let's start with some essentials. Is there anything that you're coaching patients on? Hey, here's kind of the baseline. Where do you like patients to start?
I think having your little bucket of like just a few. I was like, if you're going to pick one, pick vitamin D. That is a no-brainer. Vitamin D3, animal derived. It is part of your 25 OHT immune cascade. So it's vital to a lot of different systems in your body, but it's really vital to your immune system. And we do not get the D3 from the sun like we used to. We just don't. So vitamin D3 with or without vitamin K. So with K2, this allows a transport of calcium into the bones out of the artery. Really, Dr. Rogers' dad, am I right? He's big on having K2 added above age 40 or above age 50. But getting some sort of vitamin D3, I think, is important. You want to hit values usually around 60 to 80 on a lab. D2 is plant derived and will falsely elevate your D levels on a lab. They weakly bind to that receptor. So any integrative doctor is going to tell you to do D3 over D2. And a lot of the times there's a prescription D2 that's easy to take. It's once a week. I think it's once a week or maybe even once a month. But D3, vitamin D3 with or without K2 is the number one. If you don't choose anything else, choose that one.
Okay.
Yep. Other essentials, I think, like name the letters: D, vitamin C. Vitamin C is just great for your immune system. They make them with life extension with bioquercetin, which is a flavonoid that helps pose as like an antiviral. Vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc. Zinc is essential to a lot of cellular functions and bodily functions, but it works as a great potent antiviral. You be a little bit careful about that because zinc can mess with your natural copper levels. So I think it's nice to test that stuff after a while if you routinely take it, or have zinc on board. You can have vitamin C and zinc on board for sickness, but it's just good to have in your house.
Okay.
Another one is a complete B, a B complex. All the vitamin Bs, there's 12 vitamin Bs. Bs do everything from brain, bones, energy, creating ATP. The bigger ones are going to be folate, niacin, and B12, cobalamin. But getting a B, those are water soluble. You'll pee out the rest that you don't need. It's hard to go toxic on those. It's very hard to go toxic on vitamin D. So I think D, C, B, zinc is good to have. I like magnesium. I think magnesium is awesome, great for brain, great for blood pressure, sleep. My blood pressure alone stays normal because of magnesium. I do find that we like a brain magnesium that comes in different attachments, citrate, 3Na, oxide. We do one that's more of a brain magnesium, not really the citrate at 500 milligrams. And then this is a controversial one, and it's not going to seem controversial. I think it is because
I'm ready for it.
Are you ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
Bring on the debates. Omega-3s. Omega-3s.
There's debate around that.
Let me tell you about it. Let me bring up the debate. So, omega-3s, this is a non-essential fatty acid. You get it. Non-essential means that you can't make it on your own. There are certain vitamins that you make on your own, and then there's certain vitamins and minerals that are just part of your body. Omegas are not. And omegas have a breakdown, and omega-3s especially, posed as anti-inflammatories, have DHA and EPA, these breakdowns of omega-3 that are found in your brain. They're meant to be anti-inflammatory, meant to be for brain health and for healthy aging. So they say it's a natural blood thinner. The debate is that there's a lot of stuff, a lot of podcasts and online material, some really smart PhD lecturers that are not for omega-3s. So and the reason is it's the sourcing. So it comes from fish. Fish are a really abundant source of omega-3s. So getting omega-3s from natural sources, like having an actual fish, like a nice fatty fish, is better than the other ones. But you can have high levels of mercury. They can also have rancid omega-3s. Oils are unstable as a compound, meaning that they can go off and do stuff. They don't stay solid. Oils, that's why they move like that. They're unstable. Solids are stable. These are not stable. So they find that they can be rancid when you actually get them. So sourcing for that, if you do omega-3s, is actually really important. A cod liver oil is a good source of that. The smaller fish, the better. The larger fish, the more opportunity for mercury or for that oil to be a little less stable. That's the controversy. I don't know. I would say, and that's as far as I know about it. But that's something that might change, maybe even in our practice, but more in the integrative setting too, about whether or not you should be supplementing with omega-3s. Right now, as far as I know, I supplement with them, and I'm keeping with it until proven otherwise. Medicine changes.
Can you see the source on the label of an omega-3? And I'm assuming,
like, you can see exactly what it comes from. But that's also, I would just say, brand is important, and probably don't let those sit around for a while, and don't let those get in different heat. Like, don't let it melt in the car, because it will melt and release free radicals. It won't be as potent.
But that is still on your essentials right now.
It's still on my essentials right now, but I think that's kind of interesting that there's debate about it. Yeah.
Oh, that's super interesting. One thing I do want to talk about, because we don't talk about it enough on here, is common aims. And, we talk about a lot of vitamins in particular, but we don't necessarily talk about the aim behind them. We just because, we know most of these vitamins are really good for you. What are some common aims that you're seeing with your patients, and then some of the suggestions you're giving them in office?
I think with the essential list, you're looking to boost your immune system because that's going to contribute to your longevity. So longevity is are you going to get sick and keel over and die? Are you going to have some sort of chronic or acute illness, whether or not that be cancers, metabolic disease, which is more chronic and insidious in onset? There's a lot of different factors that go into that, but I think the essentials, I look more for immune system, prevent infection, and age well with those. That's why the D's, the B's, C's, zinc, even a multivitamin. So a multivitamin, I'll just tell you, I don't take, but that has little bits of every vitamin in it. So if you do nothing else, a 2-a-day a multivitamin may help. I usually like doing individual higher doses. That's what a multi is just putting everything compact into one in lower doses so that it gets in one pill and makes it easier.
One thing that I find interesting, and I don't know your thoughts on this, is there, because the reason I take vitamins is mainly for immune function and keeping a strong immune system. Is there a correlation between the essentials taking care of your immune system with aging well? Like, so is there a correlation there? What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, absolutely. The more intact you keep your immune system, the stronger the immune system, I think the longer you'll live. Absolutely. Okay. There's going to be outliers, but your immune system fights against infection. It's against foreign invaders. Things that are foreign are going to be viruses, bacteria, but two, cancers are foreign. They're foreign too. It's an accumulation of abnormal cells. A lot of that does deal with your DNA. Yeah, a lot of cancers can be genetic, but too, that's putting your best foot forward. Your immune system, but also too, another important one to think about, and was brought up in the conference that I went to a couple months ago, the A4M conference on integrative health, it is your arterial health. They say you're as old as your arteries. That is a very old, I forget which doctor said that a million years ago, but you're as old as your arteries. There's also something called inflammaging. So the more inflamed we are, the higher rates of cell senescence we have. Cell senescence, old cells that we have. Chronic inflammation is big too. So stress, inflammation, immune system. The arterial health deals with the stiffness of your arteries. As we get older, our arteries get stiffer. And even too, like our valves get stiffer. Aortic stenosis is an old person's valvular disease. Hypertension, though it can happen in young people, is mainly a disease of aging, and hypertension is when your arteries get stiff, and you want nice pliable arteries so that you can get blood flow where you need to go. So there's something too. There's products that can increase your nitric oxide.
That's what I was going to mention was, we've heard a lot about nitric oxide, and I know in the conference you just went to that was a hot topic, and that's what nitric oxide, when you want to increase those levels, because that increases vasodilation, which is arterial health essentially.
Yes, vasodilation means expansion, and so vasoconstriction means tight. But as you expand and allow those arteries to be pliable, that means that you're going to get blood flow where it needs to go. But nitric oxide also lives in the endothelium, actually in the lining of the artery. So as you increase that, you're actually working on the actual tissue level too, not just, it's almost like if you have this hole and you make it expand, that's vasodilation, but you're also working on the actual tissue being moldable like that. That's where nitric oxide works too. And drugs like tadalafil, sildenafil, the Cialis, Viagra, originally were heart medications and pulmonary hypertension medications, but they found blood flow, to the genitalia work, so they made it for erectile dysfunction. But those drugs work on cyclic GMP, which also improves your nitric oxide.
That's just fascinating to me. And one thing, as you were talking about, the arterial health and blood flow and vasodilation, I kind of was thinking about, I wonder if that's yet another benefit of like exercise and resistance training.
Yeah.
Because your veins typically increase when you're lifting weights or something like that. So are you actually helping like your arterial health when you do resistance training?
Yeah, resistance training, but also cardiovascular training is increasing your heart rate to push out. And the more that you can push out at higher rates and have return to, the more efficiently your heart's going to pump. You're working your heart out, which is what a cardiovascular is. It's pretty cool. It's because over long distance endurance, your heart has to pump at higher rates against pressure for an extended period of time. And what it is it's trying to get nutrients out to the distal parts, to your muscles, in your extremities. Our exercise is so vastly important, and we underutilize that. We just say exercise more. Really, there needs to be an accountability with that. Exercise is interesting too. There's this book called Exorcised. I think I brought it up on the podcast before. We didn't used to like exercise back in the day, and it's because we were physically active all the time. We were hunter-gatherers. And now that we have more sedentary lifestyles, we have to plan on times. See, we have not created the environment that we were meant to live in. So we have to plan extra time to actually exercise. We don't work on well, a lot of us, maybe some of us do, but a lot of us don't work on farms or the homestead. So we don't get the physical activity that we used to, and now we have to plan for it. You know, the treadmill was invented as a torture device.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde was imprisoned for being gay back in the day, and he was, and fact check me on this, but he was condemned to walk on a treadmill in prison.
Wow.
It was a torture device. My buddy Will,
that's hilarious.
One of my best friends in PA school. He thinks treadmills are the worst. He's a cross-country runner.
Yeah.
He's like, treadmills are the worst for you. They're torture devices. I personally kind of like treadmills, but
that's a wild story, and it just kind of makes me think it's what we're talking about. Well, one thing I love about integrative medicine is all this stuff kind of fits together. It's all. Whether you're talking about hormones, whether you're talking about, vitamins, nitric oxide, inflammation, it all kind of works together in ways. And the other part of it is, I think that's what we're all trying to do, is figure out how to be healthy in a modern world.
In an unhealthy, toxic world. That is a great point. We do 100%. We do not live in the world where we have created. How do we stay healthy in that? That's where I think too, this is off topic, but the balance of how do you incorporate like focus? Like we do adult ADD or adult ADHD. It's like, well, yeah, you can't focus because you're on a computer all day, and your phone, like my phone's right next to where I'm talking to you right now, and I've had 3 text messages, and I have looked over here to see if I need to answer those while trying to concentrate on you, while I hear noises upstairs with ambient lighting. This is not natural. This is not what we're meant. So there are some brains that can kind of have the neurotransmitters in order to function in this world. There are some brains that cannot. And so a medical intervention for those is worth a conversation. It's worth it to look at it. Do we bend ourselves to the modern world so that we can have quality of life, or do we just shut everything down and don't take part in the modern world? It's an interesting, I don't think there's an answer for that, but it's just an interesting thing. That is why I do think that supplementing with over-the-counters, I have had doctor friends say that all this is crap, that vitamins are expensive urine. A lot of it is that it's not taught anymore, and it might be due to it being out of traditional medical schools, or not just as heavily emphasized, or that there's not a randomized control trial supporting it. But it's where was I going with that? Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. The expensive urine, that it means nothing now. They have done studies. There's a book called The Doritos Effect, and I have mentioned it on the podcast before, by Mark Schatzker. They've taken a head of broccoli today, organic head of broccoli, and compared it pre-World War II. It has a third of the vitamins and minerals. Our organic food is not as healthy as it was 100 years ago. Our food sourcing's changed. I think it's imperative to supplement. So choosing supplements, I think it's hard, because do you choose every one? We did a vitamin boot camp a couple of days ago, which is kind of why we're talking about vitamins today. We have racks and racks of over-the-counters that are honestly all good, but how do you choose which one you want? In each of our offices, we kind of have it lined out now with what is meant for energy, what is meant for calm, what is meant for focus, what is meant for longevity or immunity. So you kind of have your breakdowns and pick and choose from there. My suggestion would be start with the essentials first and create a habit. I think vitamins, just like exercise, is habit. And I forget everything in the morning. I was supposed to take something this morning and I already forgot. I'm remembering now. Nighttime, I'll never forget melatonin. I think I've tricked myself into thinking I can't sleep without it. I'll never forget melatonin. I do everything at night now. And two, it's probably, people ask all the time, what's the best time to take vitamins? I'd follow the directions on the bottle as much as you can, unless a provider tells you otherwise. But take them, just take them. Find a way that you can actually remember to fit your lifestyle. There's certain things that have to be, like iron needs to be on an empty stomach. It does need to be with vitamin C. Vitamin D, E, A, and K, those need to be with fats because they're fat-soluble vitamins, so they're going to be best absorbed with those. My suggestion is to do it so that you create the habit, then you're used to taking them, and it's part of your routine. And start with the essentials and then add from there. And there's a million ones you can do. PQQ and CoQ10 are great for energy and great for getting rid of free radicals. Antioxidants means get rid of free radicals. Those are great, great longevity type vitamins. Add Circo-2 or perfect aminos. Those help with your vasodilation and the integrity of your arterial system. There's some for weight loss that use saffron, there's some specific green tea extracts that help out with appetite. Saffron's actually really great for your eyes. It's a wonderful supplement that's also good for mood and anxiety. Adrenal cortex, those use something called like adaptogens to help boost your cortisol naturally in the morning. So a lot of things that you could get creative. I say start with the essentials, add one at a time to see how you feel. And also too, like meet with a provider. We have this guy, we have Lucas. Can we make the official announcement right now?
Please, would love that.
Lucas Schmidt, he's a certified nutrition coach and also physical trainer that has been on our podcast twice now, will be joining the PM team. What? Yep. We have not had this access before, which is amazing, to someone who can create grocery lists, help you sort out nutritional goals, depending on your medical background, but also too on some obstacles that you might have with food. He's going to be in the Johnson City Clinic starting August 17th, once a week on Wednesdays. He's in our scheduler. So if you'd like to schedule an appointment with him, he is a wealth of knowledge, an unbelievable wealth of knowledge, not only for nutrition, specifically for physical activity and training, but also with supplementation. So he can absolutely help. I was going to say get with a provider. We can always help with that. And Lucas is another great resource that we'll have. Lucas Schmidt.
Well, one thing, I'm hearing here is that there really is some strategy to it. There's definitely some basics, definitely things that we and lots of others would recommend for most people. But there's a strategy around it. And the big takeaway for me and something I've seen in my own life is building the habit around taking vitamins.
Yes.
And I think, that's one thing, over the past couple of years when, lots of people have been talking about vitamins. I've doubled down and have made it a habit to where, I'm taking them 6 days a week. I do take one day off, which, Dr. Rogers, our dad, often talks about in terms of kind of a built-in cycling, going 6 on, 1 off. But you don't have to do that. You can do it 7 on and then, take a week off if you're on vacation, or something like that. Something that's you're building it around your life. So the biggest thing that I've seen help me has been making it a habit. And I have a little system that's really old school, but I'll have all the bottles out and I move the bottle when I've taken it.
Whatever floats your boat, dude. Whatever. I think that's great. That you found something that works for you. Do you do it in the morning or night?
I typically do it with dinner. And that way, it's a part of. I'm with you. I can't get there in the morning. I don't do it in the morning.
Zinc will tear your stomach up. It will. Every time I've done zinc in the morning and not eaten or been conscious about it, 11 o'clock, and all the nurses too look at me like, you look sick. yeah. I know I need to do Botox right now, but I might throw up. I'm not really sure. And 9 times out of 10, it has been because I have taken zinc without anything else.
Yeah.
So fitting it, but habits are huge. Habits are huge, especially too with exercise. It is a habit. It is 100%. Once you build in the habit, then you get to expand from there.
Yep. Well, man, I tell you what, this has been a wealth of knowledge. And like you mentioned earlier, Lucas Schmidt is on the team. He starts.
Yes, we're so excited. August 17th, Wednesday, August 17th. He's in the Johnson City Clinic right now. We are going to be able to do telemed. So if you're not in the Tri-Cities area, I recommend coming in because he has some hands-on activities. He has a scale that's going to actually test for like body fat percentage and other stuff like where you actually carry fat in your legs and arms. It's pretty cool. And I'm going to be his first patient. I'm his test patient. I will tell you, I'm the world's toughest patient. I am. I'm the worst.
I don't believe that for 1 second, man.
No, I'm taking my vitamins, but sometimes just ask Robin. Ask Robin and Fran, all of them. They've all tried their best, and I'm just the worst. No, they're amazing. I just sometimes with nutrition, I just fall off the wagon. I do too, man. Ben loves, ladies and gentlemen. Ben loves to eat out. Okay. Do not let that handsome face fool you. Ben is eating out. Ben, when is the last? I'm not calling you out. Just we appreciate truth and honesty in this house. When is the last time you cooked? You, Ben Rogers, cooked a meal.
I will say, last night I did have rice and lentils last night.
That you cooked?
Well, is microwaving cooking?
No, it's not cooking. No, I do not.
Then I mean, it's been a long time. I moved in October of 2021, and I don't think I've actually used the stove, which is bad. I know, guys. I know you're shocked to hear this about me. But
hey, we all start somewhere, okay? And it's you have a lot of other giftings that we're very thankful for. Cooking is not one of them, and that's okay.
But I will say
out too.
I will say one thing. You are a great cook. I've had plenty of breakfasts and brunches at your place, and you are really, really good. I'm impressed.
That is very kind of you. I feel like I'm a survival cook. But it's like I can throw like a piece of meat with some veggies and sides, getting creative. I'm not a chef per se, but sometimes too, I'll tell you with nutrition, it's about timing. Do you have time? There's a great Fit Meals, Smash Meals in the Tri-Cities. I'm sure there's a lot in the Knoxville. Use them because they'll cook for you, which is awesome. I use them quite a bit.
Guys, this is Andy Rogers, my brother. This is our time together, and we are happy to share it with all of you. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Wherever you're listening this, whether you're on a walk, run, whether you're working out or in the car, we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Andy, man, thank you so much for coming on Outside the Box. I'm looking forward to getting you on here more. We'll talk more nutrition, more vitamins.
I love it.
I know we've got a few topics in the content hopper that we're going to go to. And
why stay in the box when you can be out?
Guys, stay outside the box. This has been Outside the Box. I'm your host, Ben Rogers. This is my brother, Andy Rogers. You can find him in our Johnson City Clinic. Stay tuned for Lucas Schmidt. You guys will see him on the podcast. A lot more coming soon. So stay tuned for that. And any links to episodes and topics we've covered in this episode, you'll see in the description below. Andy, thanks, man.
Thanks, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Don't go away.